it's extremely interesting for us as well to hear from such very good speakers the prevention side to some extent, and also what is being doing in this area. The result of the study to me is quite interesting. There are some aspects that are extremely interesting. That the first one is the role of social network that I think is also in our investigations supported together with member states. We see more and more as a growing threat. And there is definitely a key word that I will keep from the minister that we are discussing about creating an ecosystem for security on pharma crimes. It's definitely a preventative side that has to be addressed, but also the investigations that are on the ground supported by several authorities, including obviously Europol. Interpol was mentioned before, and EU bodies in general. We have WIPO, EMA. There are several stakeholders that are playing their role in this. Let me briefly tell you something on Europol, what Europol is mandated to do, what Europol is doing in this area. We are extremely attentive on the role of IP crimes in our environments, in the EU societies as a whole. Sometimes these crimes create the idea that produce less violence and organized crime, criminal groups are less involved. On the contrary, I have been law enforcement for almost 20 years now, and I cannot find any area where there is a profit, which is easy, where organized crime is not interested. And the area of pharma crime is definitely interesting for serious and organized crime, for two reasons, basically. The first one is that it generates enormous profits. And second of all, sometimes the sanctions are not the same as for drug trafficking or firearms or other crime areas where there is more violence involved, or the perception of authorities is that there is more attention, more investigation are needed. What we see, and we have published a report very recently on this, that there is a growing threat from involving pharma crimes, which has also a strong effect on other crimes. Criminal groups that are active in pharma crimes, so in counterfeiting of medicines as well, usually are polycriminals, which means that they use techniques for laundering money, for committing frauds, tax frauds, for instance, as well. But also the laboratories that are established, the clandestine laboratories, can also be used for other purposes, not only to produce counterfeiting medicine, but also for drug trafficking, but also other areas. We had, for instance, supported an investigation in 2023, together with the Romanian police, for instance, where 1 million pills in a clandestine laboratory were seized. And if we seized 1 million pills, it means that they produced much more. We have an operation which is called SHIELD, which is like a kind of joint effort. 30 countries participate, but also other EU authorities and bodies, and we cooperate closely with the regulatory authorities on this. The last edition, we had like more than 400 criminals arrested, and we investigated more than 50, together with member states, obviously, more than 50 groups active in this area. What are the key findings that I would like to share with you in my final remarks on this? I have heard about information and be able to reach everyone with the correct information. This is definitely true. But we live in a society where everyone is in a bubble. It's not an horizontal information society anymore. So everyone look for the information in his own bubble. So there are two ways to reach everyone. First of all, try to enlarge his bubble to include the information, the relevant information that we want to give to these citizens. Or we enter his bubble in order to reach him. And it's true that I totally agree with what was said before. The information is there. There is a lot of information. So the problem is not the lack of information. The first problem is sometimes the lack of trust. And I will finish with this word, trust. For law enforcement, for other authorities, without the trust of the citizens, the information will not flow to us. And if we do not have enough information, it is very difficult to start investigation or to be effective in investigation in our efforts as EU authorities like Europol, but also law enforcement, regulatory authorities. The key is trust, to gather information and to use this information for the purpose of protecting citizens. In any investigation, there is the preventive side, which is to prevent criminals to commit other crimes, but also to raise awareness of the citizens of the efforts of authorities to combat these kind of crimes. Again, the point is to create an ecosystem. Like these events, create a strong partnership among us to share information and to be together on the same side, since the purposes are the same, to protect the safety of citizens. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I was thinking, usually when somebody speaks about falsified medicines, we tend to think that it's rather a problem of less developed countries. On the other hand, probably you are aware of that recent incident with an expensive drug for obesity in some Central European countries, Germany, Austria. In your data, could you correlate, I don't know, across Europe, the GDP rate or any other factors to the incidence of the discovered falsified medicines? Because what we cannot see, we don't know. But from what data Europol has?
Thank you for your question. As I said, it's true that there are some countries which are more active, but I would say that this is a cross-border phenomenon. The digitalization is a key driver here. So the possibility to sell and promote products everywhere in EU and beyond has created enormous opportunities for organized groups, for organized criminal groups, which means that obviously in this investigation that I mentioned before, together with the Romanian police, the products were advertised by influencers, social influencers. So the idea here is that the supply chain of these counterfeited products sometimes happen in one country, the products are sold in other countries. So the key aspect is cross-border cooperation, since sometimes we don't have enough information on the production on illicit laboratories in one country, for instance, while the criminals used to sell these products in other countries. So this cross-border aspect is key, which is more important than what countries are more active in a specific area of counterfeiting crimes, since for us, as Europol side, the more important aspect is to shed lights on what's happening at European level in order to be able to dismantle groups. Why this? Since when we dismantle an organized criminal groups, most of the time we dismantle an EU organized criminal groups, which is able to operate everywhere in Europe. And in the digital world, this is even more important.